Hey, this is Scott Park Phillips, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about a video I saw. A video of a famous master explaining two things, basically. And the problem is that there's no principles involved, it's just a method. And when you're learning something like Chinese martial arts, in this case Tai Chi or Chen style Tai Chi, you want to stay as far away from method instructions as possible if they're delivered without the principle or the underlying concept, because you'll just get stuck there. So this is what he showed in the video. He's like, sink it. He actually used the word compress. Compress on one leg and let the other leg come out. And you do it in different directions. That was the instruction. Now, compress on one leg and let the other one come out. Don't do this. Don't shift your weight in this step. And the other instruction was from there was to move by rotating claw, basically, so that the hand moves this way and the heart, or this point, say, doesn't go with the hand. Right? Those are the two instructions, and it's just like, this is right. Right? That's the instruction, the way it's given. So, in actuality, this is correct, but the concept isn't there. There's no game. There's no way in. So why would you compress? Well, actually, you don't compress. That's actually a mislead right there, or what's called a head fake. Right? You don't compress. You draw in, like the bat. You see the bat on my chest? Like a bat hanging upside down. You draw in. That's what you actually do. Compression. If you practice compression, I can freeze you and just let you compress yourself, and then you're frozen. I can move you wherever I want. So, why this? Well, the important thing here is that when people step here, when they step out a little bit, they start pushing. They're pushing. They're rooted, and they have a force going this way. A slight force. It's an up force actually, but because they're stepping forward, it's actually a leaning force. So if it's just one leg, it's definitely a leaning force, and that makes it easy to manipulate when someone touches your arm, manipulate you in this direction because your force is aligned. It's either, if I have the tree, you see the tree? Yeah, if I have the tree, then it's this force. It's easy to rotate, and people will compress themselves in order to get a bow-like quality between the foot and the hand. Or they'll take the structure into their body along this line. Both, actually, they'll do both at the same time. And that's really easy to manipulate someone when they're in that state. You just move your center, and they lose their they lose either their structure or their balance. So you don't want to push out, okay? And you will automatically be pushing out if you simply step out. So the instruction in that sense is essentially correct. It's just that what you want to do is not push out. So you draw your legs in and you keep them in. You just have to stay in. That's all. And you get that effect in any position. Doesn't matter. You can be doing it here. Doesn't matter. Because I'm not compressing. I'm drawing in. That's why they're called internal martial arts, because there's no outward force. Now with this idea here, it's the most important thing is the person can't read you. So your arm has to be completely quiet and empty of intent. So one simple way to teach that to people is to just get them to not move their arm. Just have it be still and move from here. Now, if you were explaining the principle, this might be good because you could get it. You could demonstrate the function that way. That you can affect the person here without them feeling where the force is coming from. Right? There's an up force here. That's a very strong force, but it's at a terrible angle here, and it's usually not against the enemy unless this is around their neck. So it's like where it's a problem because you can't attack in that direction. You attack this way, and this force is super. If you step, now you're manipulatable. In transferring this force to this force, you have to push out your arm. And if you do, you actually just push yourself off. That's what you're doing. So people use very weak force, but with a lot of tension, they convince themselves that it's a strong force. It's an self-illusion, or self-delusion would be a better way of putting it. Your arm has to be quiet, right? And this is one way to show that. But what he says is don't move your heart, don't move your center of your chest forward when your arm moves. Well, the same problem, right? That's you pushing out your foot or pushing out your hand. Either one. That's outward force. That's external. That's not internal. The principle of internal martial arts is the forces are always collected inward. If you want to hit, you hit with the center first. You don't hit with the arm first. So because the arm should be in, the leg should be in. That's how you get whole body mass. That's how you get whole body unity. So, but if you're fighting or playing push hands or whatever, can you move this? Oh yeah, you can move this. That doesn't make any. That's actually just a good illusion because people think that some force is coming from here. They'll misread you. They'll misread you and they'll brace in the wrong direction, and then you simply control them. If they brace at all, you control them. So all you need them to do is to brace for 1 second, and you got them. So this is a really great technique to move here, but as long as you're not generating outward force, as long as you don't think this is generating outward force, or you're not doing it from the foot, as long as you're in, then there's no reason why you can't move here. In fact, it creates a better illusion. It actually creates better fighting. So it creates openings too to strike, for you to strike. Anyway, my basic point here is that what's missing in Chinese martial arts is a connection to theater and religion, which is that they were a single unit. They were a single concept, and when you separate that, then you end up with ideas like pure method or some concept of practical, which is the last thing that Tai Chi is practical. It's absurd. Can you fight with it? Sure, but is that practical? No. It's just not a practical idea. I'm fighting criminals. Anyway, and everybody knows this, so it's like everyone's agreeing to be fooled, right? So there's not a problem there. But drawing in toward the center is the fundamental idea, and that comes from cultivating the golden elixir. It's not just a physical practice. It's actually you cultivate emptiness, and then you visualize space as a moving illusion, and that causes your intent to completely leave the physical body. So your jing, the physical body, is pure. That's what happens if you practice the golden elixir. And so if your body's empty of intent, so people can't read you, but also it holds together better, so you have whole body unity. And you can do a lot of different things with your mind, but the base practice would be to put your mind to the outer edge of emptiness while you're practicing, and then automatically there'll be no intent in your body. So it will be quiet. And you don't have to worry about this kind of technique. Right? This kind of technique is unnecessary, because the only purpose for this technique would be to sort of establish no intent in your arm. Because there's another big piece here, which maybe is obvious, maybe is not obvious, but if I sink down, what he's calling compression, which I'm calling drawing in, if I sink down when I'm touching you, as long as I have whole body unity, which will happen if you're just quiet anyway, you'll feel my entire mass. So then, depending on where your center is, you'll either be drawn out or you'll be compressed. So it happens, but if you don't understand why it happens, you can't really apply it in any significant way. You're just following a method. So you might get it in one context and then not understand how it works elsewhere. Because it doesn't require you to be over your foot, for instance. That's irrelevant. Yeah, what you have to do is give the other person all 170 pounds of your body when you touch. Right? You can also put them on your back. It's actually the same integration. It just depends on which way you want to go and which way they want to go. There's another point here, which is when I sink down and I go like that, I'm keeping my center line up. This is a very indirect way to teach counterbalance skills, because if I touch another person here, the moment I touch them, I'm moving my center. Okay, I'm going to be moving, if you imagine there's somebody there, it's going to move my center. So I got to move my center somewhere. I make contact with another person, unless they experience me as a bulldozer, right? Unless they just cower, disappear completely, like they break in every sense of the word. Then I'm pushing myself off. So you correct to the center line. So that's why they're hiding this. They're hiding the counterbalance, which is that I would be pushing myself off. They hide that by correcting to the center line. If you correct to the center line with leaning, now you're manipulatable. So they'll teach it as you have to be perfectly upright all the time, like a perfect center line connection here. When you go in a very specific way. Right? That's what this has to be up, clear. Right? That's just. It's almost like you're hiding the counterbalance principle from yourself, because the fundamental principle here is that I need to be able to resolve all incoming forces, whether somebody shoots, whether someone's punching, whether it's just a quick touch, whether it's push hands, whatever it is, I need to be able to resolve all incoming forces. Whether I do that by getting out of the way, or deflecting, or integrating them with my center and turning, or the many other ways actually. Regardless, I have to be able to resolve all incoming forces. And the easiest way to do that is with counterbalance. Someone touches you, the moment you touch your center, it's connected to their center. You don't feel it; it's just true. It's physics. So when they move, it moves you. When you move, it moves them. And the stiffer your arm is, the more obvious this is. So you want your arm to be completely quiet. It's muscular, but there's no intent in it. So when you move your center, it moves their center. And basically you're way ahead of whatever game anybody else is playing if they don't know how to do this. So if this was made obvious, like it is in drunken styles, then everyone would have figured it out. But in Tai Chi, they have you keep your center completely upright. Still doing the same thing if they're really good. They're still using a perfect counterbalance. So moving the center first, moving your center first. They're connected. They move your center first. But you'll never see it. If the center, if you practice like this, you'll never see it. So that's it. That's what I had to say. I hope people come to Boulder and study with me, because it takes a while to get this stuff, and I'm not going to live forever. I'm probably not going to make it much past 150, so it's going to take a while to learn. So come on out and study. Okay.